I wasted 18 months trying to get over my ex, so things had to change. If you had the same struggles I once did and you can't get over your ex or forget about them with the constant rumination, crippling anxiety and the feeling of worthlessness just won't go away, the solution is right here. Unfortunately, most of us don't see it until we've gone through the gauntlets that is a heartbreak because we're going through a breakup and we're not thinking straight. You're a little fucked up right now because you just had your heart ripped out and the person you love left so easily. But when you do see it, it's quite obvious and you'll be like, now why didn't I think about that? After 4 years of coaching nearly 1,000 people through their breakups over Zoom calls, almost 300 YouTube videos about breakups with a combined 1.7 million views, and writing a book on how to get over your ex, I've got you covered. And the solution might be easier than you think, but quite hard to discover. The hard part is, well, it's fucking hard. But through my own experience with a breakup that broke me in two 4 years ago, I'm going to show you how. I got it so wrong in the first 18 months post-breakup. I tried to force myself to forget about my ex so I could stop ruminating about her. No matter what I did, she was the first thing I thought about when I woke up and the last thing I thought about before going to sleep, and she occupied every thought in between. I would even wake up at random times because my brain thought it would be fun to remind me that I was alone and single. The crazy thing was, the more I tried to force myself to stop ruminating, the more I ruminated. I've scoured the interwebs, podcasts and books for information on how to stop obsessively thinking about an ex-partner, and I've come to one inescapable conclusion which we'll get into a bit later. There are 5 crucial stages of a breakup all dumpies must understand to begin the healing process. I'll then go over the actions required to help you smash your recovery process, drop your ex like a bad habit, which will help you move on to better partners. My name is Nick and this is The Love Fix. If you need more than this video can provide, there are links to my new book, Breaking Up With Your Breakup, a counterintuitive remedy for heartbreak, and my one-to-one breakup recovery coaching services via a Zoom call in the description below. With all that said, let's get straight into the main points of this video. Before we get into the 5 stages every dumpy needs to know, let's take a minute to sit in the mud and appreciate how horribly painful breakups can be. Breakups are, well, they just fucking suck. There is no other way to put it. Physical and emotional pain, nausea, diarrhea, shock, pining, worthlessness, sleeplessness, anger, shame, and the list goes on. This list is so long I could write an entire book about breakups and how to recover from them. Oh wait, I did that already. Hit the link in the description below to pick up your copy today. Cheeky plug. All breakups have some common patterns, hence the 5 stages that are coming right up. But all breakups are in their own way unique. The stages of a breakup for the dumpy are not linear. So many times I thought I was over my ex and then bam, I'd wake up feeling like I was on day 1 of the breakup again. This is called a breakup relapse, which I've done a video on already. I'll leave a clickable pop-up for you at the end of this video. With that said, let's get into the 5 stages. Stage 1, the death of identity. I've covered this already in great depth in my book, chapter 1, page 31. For those of you who have read my book already, you can skip to stage 2. For those of you who haven't, how very dare you not order my book. All jokes aside, this part is essential. Much of our identity gets tied up in our romantic relationships. In fact, many of us put way too much in at the expense of ourselves. So when the relationship ends, it's a feeling of abandonment, shock, and worthlessness all rolled into one. The breakup threatens our identity, which threatens our emotional survival, which feels like we're going to emotionally die. This can also manifest itself with physical pain and other symptoms. MRI scans done on dumpies show the areas of the brain associated with physical injury are activated after being shown a picture of their ex. This means it can feel like we're in physical pain post-breakup, which I guess lends itself to the terms heartache and broken heart. I totally get why people say, they broke my heart, but that's not strictly true. You certainly feel brokenhearted, I know I did, but in reality, it's not your heart they broke, but your expectations of the future with them and the idea of them you held in your mind. We therefore must feel the pain of and accept the reality that we're now going to forever be fundamentally different. The pain is like a stalking predator waiting for the right time to strike. The more we try to outrun it, the more we exhaust ourselves, which is when the predator goes in for the kill. Our identities have been forcibly changed. The perception of your ex has been forcibly changed. Them leaving can hurt more than someone close to you dying, because in most cases, people don't choose to die, whereas your ex chose to leave and possibly rebound or monkey branch with someone else. Also, when someone dies, there is a finality to that. With your ex, you're mourning someone who is still alive, which always leaves a possibility they may come back. It's crazy to think. Over 60% of my clients have said that they dealt with the death of a family member easier than a breakup with their ex, and I get why. Their ex chose to leave, and it's that choice which stabs us through the heart. Stage 2. Love junkie problems. After the initial shock has worn off, some of the worst withdrawal symptoms you've ever experienced will come for you. We've essentially been love junkies, and now we're going through withdrawal. As savage as those symptoms can be, it is important to endure them. When this happens, it is likely the urge to reach out to your ex will be at its highest. It goes without saying that we shouldn't be reaching out to someone who chose to leave. We will get to how to deal with that in a few minutes. The first 6 months of my breakup was a combination of shock, anger, and keeping myself so busy I didn't allow myself the space to feel my feelings and grieve the relationship. That was a mistake. When it finally caught up with me, the real pain started. I started to feel how much time had passed since the breakup. 10 days, 30 days, 90 days and beyond. Days felt like months, and I'd noticed how far down she was now on my WhatsApp list, whereas before, she was always at the top of it. I started to feel the withdrawal of dependency. My ex was my main source of dopamine and oxytocin, and it had been taken away from me. Withdrawal symptoms range from anxiety to nausea, disturbed sleep, starve, binge cycles with eating, anhedonia, which is a lack of joy in anything that you do, and just an insatiable craving for my ex. I lost track of how many messages I wrote to her on my notes app, and I hate to admit that I almost sent every one of them to her. I even tried dating to soothe the withdrawal symptoms. I was dating women that were so wrong for me. But as most of you know, withdrawal is a bitch and will do almost anything to make the pain go away. But like a recovering addict taking a chemical substitute, it just didn't have the same hit as the real thing. This is where we are savagely aware of what we have lost. But it is vital that we go through this pain barrier so we can get to the actionable steps that will actually help us move forward. Stage 3. Why don't you like me? This is where we internalize the rejection. I also get into this in detail in my book, where I say the breakup isn't about what you think or feel, nor is it about you as a person. It is about how your ex thinks and feels. I know that is hard to hear, and of course you feel it is all about you. How you feel is how you feel, and that is always okay, my friends. We will get to how to deal with that in a bit. It is so easy to make someone else's decision about us and allow it to affect our own self-esteem. There is a word for that: disempowerment. We are giving someone else the power to change what we think about ourselves. Would we do that in any other situation? Would we simply allow a stranger in the street to say something shitty about us to the point it changes what we think about ourselves? Hell no. It's in this stage where thoughts of what we could have done better really start to kick in. We overanalyze every insignificant detail, right down to their facial expressions when they said, "I don't love you any longer." Stage 4. I'm just angry and I want to see the world burn. I remember the day I was collecting my things from the house my ex and I were living in together. My friend Chris was helping me and suggesting that we go meet our friends in Victoria Park. It was a beautiful summer's day and all I could see were happy couples everywhere. I wanted everyone to break up in front of me because, well, misery loves company and I wanted to see the world burn. Many of my clients have said they want to get revenge on their exes, and I get why. But trust me, my friends, causing more pain to heal your pain never works. All revenge really is an excuse to project pain outward rather than turning inward to heal because it's so damn painful. It's okay to be angry, and it's an essential stage to go through before truly letting go of your ex and stop obsessing over them. Are you angry right now? Let me know in the comments. If yes, great. I'm happy for you because you're starting to heal, and I'm going to tell you how to use that for your benefit very shortly. It's important to understand that force creates resistance, so don't resist this stage. Stage 5, the breakthrough and taking action. This is where it really gets interesting. Have you ever woken up one morning and felt good for no reason? When this begins to happen, you are well on your way out of the funk you've been in. All the little steps you've been taking have cumulative effects. This can take some time, but when you get to this point, you no longer think about your ex as much. But if you do, it only holds your attention for a few minutes rather than paralyzing you for the whole day or the entire month. This is less of a transformation and more of an emotional adaptation. Human beings are remarkably adaptable. Look at people in war-torn countries. After a few months of bombs going off all around them, it becomes background noise. When the bombing first started, the sound was terrifying, but after months of constant bombing, they know the bombs are still there and could end them if one were to get too close, but it becomes normalized. It's the same with your pain. It's still there in a way. You still think about your ex sometimes, and maybe you still love them. So, do we really get over someone, or do we simply adapt to their absence? For me, it's the latter. I still remember all my exes, some more than others of course, and I'm glad I had my time with them. The pain is no less than yours or anyone else's. What's different is the mindset. So now what? It's time for you to take action and to kick some ass. You know what the stages are. You understand and accept this will suck and be an emotional roller coaster. But it's the actions you take after you've gone through these 5 stages that conquers all. Action allows us to take control of what we can control. It allows us to be present and deprioritizes everything else, like being hung up on someone who no longer invests in us. The biggest issue I had when going through my breakup was I was never present with anything or anyone in my life because my mind was always thinking about my ex, counting the days of no contact, over-analyzing my last conversations with her, and so on. It was giving me the shits. I was doing all the good stuff like working out, meditation, blah 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 blah, but the only time I was truly present was when I started playing the drums and taking lessons. Firstly, the drums are fucking awesome. Secondly, nothing will demand 100% of your concentration like stepping into an alien environment with new people, all of whom are smarter than you are. The cognitive demand during every drumming lesson I ever had forced me to be 100% present. And what happens when you are 100% present? You have zero mental resources to focus on anything else. In other words, you've chosen in that moment to give a fuck more about yourself and what you're doing than the breakup and your ex. I want you to flip this script on its head. I don't want anyone to sit there and think they lost the one that got away, or thinking you're worthless. Instead, tell yourself that if they stop choosing me, they cannot possibly be the right person for me, because if they were the right person for me, they would still be choosing me. Allow that to be the biggest fucking turnoff in the history of turnoffs and swipe left on their ass. Them saying no to you means you can say yes to someone who will choose you every day, someone who will always swipe right on you. Take everything you've learned from your ex and your breakup. Value the good times and the bad times you had with them, and let that shape your mindset and growth so you can find that person that will say yes every day. The secret in the sauce is how you respond to how you feel. Have your feelings, let them out. In fact, spend 30 minutes every day being angry at your ex about the breakup, and be angry with yourself. Scream, shout, journal, and so on. When you're done, promise yourself that you'll do some self-care like hitting the gym, paying down your debts, cleaning your house, helping others. The list could go on, but you get my point. The other secret is to not stay in the anger phase for too long, because you can't get well in the place that is making you sick. You get to choose if you are destructive or constructive. Destructive ends poorly, constructive ends well. This may sound overly simplistic, and it probably is, but it never fails to surprise me how many people are seldom present. Lastly, we can try a thought experiment that I hope will spur you into action. Here's the thing about breakups. We all choose to be in a relationship with the person we selected. For your recovery to work, you must radically accept that you chose your ex and to have a relationship with them. That's no one else's responsibility but yours. Therefore, a potential cost of that choice was a breakup. A breakup is always a possibility when we're in a relationship. But the thing is, when we get into relationships, we rarely consider the potential cost and the fallout of it. The ultimate cost for us is, in this context, is us being dumped and the relationship ending. One could therefore argue one of the main causes of a relationship breaking down is being in that relationship in the first place. Breakups can't happen if the relationship didn't exist, and no doubt some of you have thought, I just won't get into a relationship ever again then. But it's the fact that things can end that make relationships so damn special and worth having. My point is, breakups fucking suck. I wouldn't have a YouTube channel or be coaching people through heartbreak if they were easy. There is a time and a place to be sad and angry, but we can get to a point where, rather than being sad about how we feel, we can be happy that we had the power to choose to be in a relationship. We have the power to choose to be in new relationships, and we certainly have the power to heal and adapt to life without our ex-partners. That's true freedom, healing, and power, my friends. We chose to be there in the first place, and we get to choose how we respond to the cost we didn't want to pay when we were dumped. Even when the breakup isn't our choice, we get to decide how we respond to how we feel. That's our power and the secret to moving forward. We get to choose. Yes, it fucking hurts, but let's swap post-traumatic stress for post-traumatic growth. No matter your situation, it's going to suck. You are likely going to feel like you're the only person in the world that feels the way you do, and in a sense, that is actually true. Only you can experience reality from your perspective, and that is unique to you. I cannot take that away from you, nor would I try. What I can do is to expose you to an alternative way of thinking and taking action. It's going to suck no matter what you do, but you get to choose the way it sucks. You get to choose the pain and the path that it takes you down. If you're still struggling, there are some videos appearing on your screen now which I think can help. This has been The Love Fix. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this video has been helpful. You are enough. You are going to be okay. And I will see you on the other side.